Is that okay? Everyone can see it okay?
Yeah.
Okay, should we get started?
Yeah, sure, we can start.
Okay.
We'll admit the people that is coming.
Okay, so if we have more people join, that's great. So welcome everyone and thank you for attending the Brock University presentation. My name is Chantel. I am an international recruitment officer for Brock. So usually during this time, we're on the road traveling and visiting students in their country. Right now, because of COVID, everything's looking a little bit different as we are offering virtual presentations. So hopefully this presentation gives you a little bit more insight into studying in Canada, studying specifically at Brock University. If you have questions, we can definitely save them for the end. It'd be great to get your feedback and see what kind of questions are on your mind, and we'll just go through that together. So Brock University is located in the province of Ontario. So for those living here, I'm sure you're very familiar with the region. So we are located just south of Toronto, about an hour away from Toronto in the city of St. Catharines. So we are 20 minutes away from the beautiful Niagara Falls, 30 minutes away from Buffalo, New York, and just over an hour from Toronto. So we are very fortunate to have Niagara Falls located right in our backyard. I'm sure many of you have gone to Niagara Falls. It's a beautiful site. You can take a boat tour to go right into the falls and be able to get the full experience. So this is about 20 minutes away from our campus. The campus itself is actually located on top of the Niagara Escarpment, part of the UNESCO Biosphere Reserve. So at first glance, the campus looks quite large. It's really not that big. It takes about 10 minutes to walk from one side of the campus to the other. All of our residence buildings and academic buildings are located right here on campus. We have a famous hiking trail actually on our campus called the Bruce Trail. So it's nice to be able to go out and experience nature right in your backyard. If you are interested in having a virtual tour of the campus, you can go on to the following link to get a tour. So you'll be able to see the facilities, pictures of the campus, and we do have guided tours happening as well right now virtually. So we do have someone who's providing the presentation live of the campus. So lots of ways to be able to engage. So when we're looking at why we see international students choosing Brock over other destinations, these are the top 5 reasons. So the first has to do with safety on and off campus. As I mentioned, we are located in Niagara, which is actually one of the safest regions in Canada. Even on our campus, we have a 24-hour campus security team just to give students that peace of mind they need while they study. Our campus is actually located on a dead-end street, so there's no traffic coming through. Anyone who's on campus is either a student or a professor or staff member. As I mentioned, I grew up in Niagara, so I can definitely speak to the safe community here. Affordable living is another key aspect. So for those that are living in Toronto, I'm sure you know that it can be expensive to live in a big city. So because we are further away from Toronto, we have a lot of affordable living options very close to campus in St. Catharines. So on average, a 1-bedroom apartment is about 67% less expensive than living in Toronto. So this is really appealing to students, especially if you're looking at studying a 4-year undergrad degree. You'll definitely want to take this into consideration when you're planning your finances. Personalized international student support. So I think this is definitely where Brock International shines. We do have a dedicated international student services team that helps our international students adjust to both academic, language, and social programming. So right now, everything is currently being offered virtually. So all of our students who started with us in September had the opportunity to meet one-on-one with an academic advisor, come up with their study plans, answer any questions they have about moving to Canada or virtual learning. They are doing a lot of virtual events right now on Instagram. We'll look at that a little bit later as well. We do also have career-driven programming. So you'll notice when we go through some of the programs today, there's a lot of unique programs to Brock. We have a game design, public health. We are the only university in Canada to offer a Bachelor of Sport Management. And then we've also got co-op placements. So if you're looking at co-op, that is paid work experience with your degree. We have over 40 programs offered with a co-op stream. And then 100% of our undergrad programs have some form of experiential learning, which means that our students are getting exposed to industry, that experience they need outside the classroom in order to prepare for a career. So we're happy to say that we do have one of the highest employment rates in Canada, with just over 96% of our students finding work after receiving their degree. Okay, there we go. So Brock University is considered to be a mid-sized university. So we have just over 19,000 students with us. So we're large enough to be considered world-class. We've got opportunities to get involved in research, co-op, experiential learning, but we're still small enough that the professors get to know our students by name. So we were voted top 3 in Canada for overall student satisfaction. So I think that definitely speaks to the student experience. Over 13% of our students are international, from over 100 countries represented. In terms of the programs themselves, as I mentioned, we have over 70 undergrad programs you can look to apply for. So all of our programs are listed here. So the way we have it divided is based off of faculty. So you will apply directly to the program of your choice. So Faculty of Applied Health Sciences is our fastest growing faculty on campus. Under here, you'll find programs such as medical sciences, we've got kinesiology, sport management, public health. I think that's a very popular program right now because of what's happening as well with COVID. So with these programs, these are 4-year undergrad degrees that students would be looking to receive. Faculty of Education, if anyone on the call is interested in becoming a teacher, we do offer concurrent education at the primary, junior, and intermediate level. Goodman School of Business is probably one of our more popular faculties for students, especially international students. We have our famous accounting program, we've got our business program, we even have an international dual degree with partners in Europe, so you can study abroad. With these programs, you'll notice that anything with a blue box beside it indicates the program is offered with a co-op stream. So you are getting exposed to industry, getting work experience, and getting paid, which is definitely a benefit. With our business program, you'll be able to choose from 10 areas of concentration. So you don't actually choose your area of concentration until your 3rd year in the program, but you can choose anything from finance to marketing to management to entrepreneurship, whatever interests you. Faculty of Humanities, I would say, is our more flexible faculty. If you're not quite sure what you want to study yet, you can always apply for general humanities. In your 1st year, you'll take different courses, and then you declare your major at the end of your 1st year. So some popular programs here, we've got medieval studies, philosophy, classic studies. The game design is a program you have to apply to directly. So that one you would have to apply to at the time of your application. Game design does require a statement of interest that explains why you want to pursue that program. We also have fine arts programs, so we do invest in our fine arts students. We actually have a separate campus for our fine arts students. It's called the Marilyn I. Walker School of Fine and Performing Arts. So this campus is located in downtown St. Catharines. So it's about 10 minutes away from the campus I showed you on the screen earlier. And it's located right in the heart of the city, close to all the action. There's a beautiful theater space there, studio art gallery. So if you are interested in dramatic arts, music, or visual arts, just know that you do have your own campus. Faculty of Mathematics and Sciences, under here you'll find anything from biochemistry to biotechnology. We've got some different computer science programs. You'll notice we've got computer science and mathematics, computing and business, so giving you options to explore different areas. And within the Faculty of Mathematics and Science, you're noticing a lot of blue boxes indicating that there's many programs offered with the co-op stream. So that's very appealing to our students. Faculty of Social Sciences, some popular programs. Tourism is quite popular. So being that we are located so close to Niagara Falls, tourism is a huge industry for us. So you will be getting experience there. There is the co-op stream, and it also looks at sustainability methods within tourism. We do have our psychology program. We are one of the only universities here in Ontario offering co-op with our psychology. Business communication is popular as well. If you are in your final year of high school and you did not take your senior level maths, you may want to consider applying to business communication. There's no math required for this program. It is more focused on the social aspects of business, so marketing and management, but you would not have to worry about the finance side. So lots of programs that you can look to apply for. I won't be going through all of them today because it will take a long time. But what I would recommend is if you go onto the Brock website, you'll be able to review each individual program. It also will tell you the prerequisite courses you need, as well as potential careers available for that program. So this is something I do want to mention. I've talked a little bit about co-op, but there's definitely a lot of benefits to considering a co-op program. So with the paid work experience, students make anywhere between $18 to $23 per hour on average. Right now, minimum wage in Ontario is $14. So it is well above minimum wage you'd be making with your co-op. When you're doing a co-op placement, you are not in school during that time. So during those 4 months, you're working full-time at a company, getting paid. And then by the time you graduate, you would have done 3 different co-op placements, which accounts for 12 months of work experience. So definitely great to have that work experience upon graduation. And we do see many of our employers looking to hire our students upon graduation as well. If you're not looking at a co-op program, that's okay. There's other ways to enhance your degree. As I mentioned, 100% of our undergrad programs have some form of experiential learning, which means our students are getting the experience they need outside of the classroom to prepare for a career. We also have study abroad opportunities. You can look to do an internship or a field course abroad during the summer months with a professor. We have something called Program Plus. So we have a Med Plus and a Law Plus program. This is an extracurricular that you can look to take part in. So it's a portfolio outside of your classes where you're getting exposed to either the medical industry or law. So that's something you can look to do during your time at Brock. If you're interested in joining the Law Plus or the Med Plus program, you would have to submit an application to be considered. So these are just a couple ways you can enhance your degree through Brock. With residence, if you are applying directly from high school, which many of you are, you will be able to be guaranteed a spot in residence as long as you apply prior to June 1st. So residence, all of our residence buildings are located on campus, just a couple minutes away from your classes. There are different styles of residence that you can look to apply for. We've got our traditional style, we've got semi-suite, we've got a townhouse style, a mix of single and double rooms. With the residence buildings, I always ask students, do you like to cook? If you do like to make your own food, I would recommend applying to the townhouse style because you'd have a full kitchen available for you. If you know, maybe you have a friend who's also going to be joining Brock in September, you can also list them on your application in order to be able to live together during your first year. So once again, with residence, just make sure you are submitting that application prior to June 1st. We do want to make sure that you are guaranteed your spot. If you're looking at living off campus, this is very common for students during their upper years. So going into second year with friends, they may decide to live in an apartment or house. You'll be able to find a place for as low as $450 Canadian a month. So lots of affordable living options close to campus. We have a homestay program. Our homestay program is organized through our office, and it is meant for any students who are enrolling in ESL. Now, there's lots of ways to get involved in Brock, but one way is definitely through athletics. So this is a really big part of the Brock community. So if you are interested in joining a varsity sport, you can definitely do so. You'll see a list of all of the recreation sports that we have offered at Brock. So you could look to do a varsity sport, which is when you compete against other universities here in Canada. But we also have intramurals, which is just more for fun, where you compete against other Brock students. So as I mentioned, Brock Sports is a really big part of the Brock community. It also offers part-time jobs to our students on campus if you're looking to work part-time during your studies. If you're not interested in sports, I would still suggest going to check out a game and participate and cheer on your fellow Badgers. There is a lot of school spirit that you'll see at Brock. So for anyone who's interested in sports, I'm happy to get you connected with the coaches ahead of time if that's something you would like to do. If you don't want to do sports, that's okay. We also have over 100 clubs that are offered on our campus, so there's always ways to get involved. So we won't go into too much detail about the application process, but it is good to know that you will be submitting your application through OUAC, which is the Ontario University Application Center. Your counselor will be able to assist you with that. So after your application has been submitted to Brock through OUAC, what happens is you're going to receive an email from Brock. In that email, it's going to give you an activation code for your Brock portal. So it'll give you a campus ID. You'll go on, you'll activate your Brock portal, and then from there, you'll be able to submit any required documents. And it's also where your letter of acceptance will get posted. So everything is through the portal. So please make sure you are checking your emails. With the portal, this is also where students apply for residence. It's where they apply for scholarships, and it's where they register for classes. So it's important that you are checking the portal on a regular basis, especially going into the spring and summer months, because these are where your next steps will take place. Now, we do also provide assistance for course registration. That's all done through our office. In terms of the admission requirements to get into Brock, generally speaking, for students applying directly from high school, we will look at about a B- in your final year of study. So coming out of grade 12, so that's about a 70%. Some programs will have higher admission requirements, so keep that in mind. So for example, if you apply to a co-op program, typically there'll be a higher average requirement. If something happens, you apply to a highly competitive program, maybe it's game design and you don't get in, as long as you meet our general admission requirements, we will automatically give you an alternate offer to a different program at Brock. So if you're applying through OUAC, just make sure you're applying only to one program at Brock. The second component of getting an offer for Brock is making sure you meet our English language requirements. So students are able to submit the IELTS or TOEFL test. IELTS, we look at a 6.5, no band below 6. If you have been studying in the English high school for at least 3 years, you can submit a waiver form to be considered for a waiver from an EPT. So that's something that's available for students that are studying in curriculums that are taught fully in English. Now, there are some programs that are going to require a supplementary application. So these programs include game design, game programming, and then our visual arts programs. So if you apply to any of these programs, just know that you will have to submit an additional document, either a portfolio or statement of interest. Our accounting co-op is the only program that has a higher English language requirement, looking at an IELTS of 7. If something happens, you're not able to meet our English language requirements, what happens is we will automatically give you a conditional offer into IELP. So this is the intensive English language program that's offered through Brock. So it's Brock's ESL program. So if a student does not meet the English requirements, what they'll do is they'll take our ESL courses. Once they finish the ESL courses, they'll go directly into their undergrad program. Now, if you do meet our English language requirements, you don't have to worry about this, but it's just good to know what options are available in case you are not able to meet our minimum English requirements. So scholarships is something I think that we also do a great job in offering international students. So I'm going to go through some of these scholarships with you today so you're aware of what you would be eligible for. So with the scholarships, some of them are automatic. So they're going to be based off of your final year grades in high school. So really important that you work hard. The higher your average, the more scholarships you'll be able to attain. So on the far right, you'll see the Brock Scholars Award. So these scholarships are valued between $4,000 to $16,000 Canadian. That money is split between your 4 years at Brock. So depending on your academic average, coming out of grade 12, that will determine how much you're going to receive. Now, in addition to that, we also have to the far left some other scholarships, including the Emerging Market Entrance Award. So this scholarship is in line with the Brock Scholars Award. So if you are a citizen of any of the countries listed there, including Turkey, you'll be eligible for an additional scholarship valued between $1,000 to $4,000 Canadian. So as an example, let's say coming out of high school, you have a 95% average from grade 12. You'll get $4,000 from your Brock Scholars in your first year, and then an additional $4,000 from the emerging market if you are a citizen of Turkey. So that would be $8,000 coming into your first year at Brock. So that's really great to see. In addition to that, we've got other scholarships you can apply for. We have something called the International Student Ambassador Award. This is our largest scholarship we have offered for international students. So every year we select around 10 to 15 international students as our ambassadors. We're looking for students that are engaged within their school community and they've done well academically. If you submit this application and you are successful in receiving the scholarship, you will pay Canadian tuition fees for that year. So you save about $20,000 off of your tuition. So that's the largest scholarship. You may want to consider applying for it. Last year, the deadline to apply for that was April 1st. In addition to that, if you want to apply for more scholarships, the way to do it is through something called the One app. So on your Brock portal, you'll click the One app. It's one application you fill out and we will match you with scholarships available through the university. So that's good to know. So some options there can definitely help reduce your fees. Now we do have the fees listed. Hopefully you're able to see this okay. So with the expenses, now the fees that we have here are international tuition fees. So if anyone online is a Canadian citizen, just know that your fees are going to look different when it comes to tuition. So for international tuition, we're around 29,000 Canadian dollars. So pretty on par with other Ontario universities. And then of course, looking at the overall picture, around $42,000 Canadian. And with the scholarships, it can definitely reduce those fees as well. So we're getting close to the end of the presentation. What I do want to end with is the international student support, just so you can see what's currently happening on campus. So right now, our courses are being offered online for all students, international and Canadian students. So we've been offering a lot of support to make sure international students as well are adjusting to Canadian studies. So we've done advising one-on-one with our students to come up with their academic plan, help them adjust to online courses. Mental health and wellness is something that's really valued at Brock and making sure our students are supported through counseling services. We also have a global peers program that is new this year. So we are placing upper year Brock students with incoming international students. So either from the same hometown or from the same program. So providing that student mentorship program has been really valuable to international students. And then every week, we're also providing updates onto how the university has been responding to COVID. In addition to that, one thing I would definitely mention, I know that you guys are still in high school right now, but if you do want to follow us on Instagram, we are very active right now in different activities taking place. So you'll see that we've been offering virtual events through the Brock International Instagram account. So we've did live concerts throughout the summer months. We recently did a talent show. We had over 700 students participate. We have done TikTok challenges, cooking demonstrations. So the virtual support has been really valuable to our international students right now. And it would be great if you would like to follow us and see what's happening with our international student community. So I guess what we'll do is we can end the presentation there. I do want to make sure that there's time for questions. So we'll head out to the Q&A session now. And I'll just end with that slide there. So what's the best way to offer the Q&A? Maybe through the question period. If students want to turn on their mics, you can do that too.
Yeah, I think, Chantal, maybe we can do like, if you have any questions, you can write on chat and then you can just check on chat. And I think I can make you host as well.
Okay, perfect.
So if you have any questions, if you can write on chat, please, and then
that's perfect.
You can get the answers. Yeah.
Thank you. So it can be any question, whether it's about the programs, the student experience, residents, classes, whatever you may have. I know it's still early in the process for your research, but it's good to engage if you can, if there's anything that's on your mind.
I have a question.
Sure.
For the minimum like GPA, like the minimum GPA, like appliance, what is it? Like the number? Like, so if I want to apply, but like, what's the minimum GPA I can go and
get in?
Yeah.
So what we'll do is we'll be looking at your grade 12 results. So the average of your 6 grade 12 courses, And with that, we usually look at around a 70% for admission.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good question. So it's always your final year that we'll look at for your grades. So grade 12.
I have a question. So how's the medical, faculty in Brock?
Yeah, so good question. So we do have a really great applied health sciences faculty. So if you are looking to pursue medical sciences, public health, you do have opportunities to get involved within research at the undergrad level. I'm not sure what your plans are after graduation. Sometimes students do ask about becoming a doctor. So the first step is completing your undergrad before applying to med school. Just know med school is extremely competitive, especially for international students. So keeping that in mind, but there's definitely a lot of routes you can look to do within the medical field. Like I said, if you're looking at medicine, I would recommend considering something like medical sciences at the undergrad level. We've got biomedical sciences. Public health is also a good option too.
I also have a question.
Sure.
What about the forensic science fields?
Yeah, so we don't actually have forensic sciences through our university. There is some opportunities through social sciences, through sociology for looking at criminology as a specialization, but nothing specific to forensic science.
Okay, can you explain a bit more about the criminology fields?
Yeah, so criminology would be looking at the social side of criminology. So right now it's offered as a specialization under sociology. So if you were looking to do that, you'd have to apply directly to sociology. Now, if you want specific to forensic sciences, that would be more involved in the science field. So you may want to look at both options in your research. I'm happy to send you some details if you want to see the sociology program, but there would be nothing specific to forensic there.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I have another question.
Sure.
What academic programs is your school most known for?
Yep, so I would say our sciences, business is very popular through Goodman School of Business. So we've got a great accounting program, business program. And then in addition to that, we are well known for education. So students that are looking to get involved in concurrent education at the undergrad level.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. These are good questions. I'll check. I don't think anything's come through the chat box. Maybe I'll double check to make sure.
Guys, this is your chance if you have any questions. Don't be shy.
Yeah, don't be shy. We will also be having a virtual open day in November, so I can share the information with you guys as well. So we're going to be offering a mock lecture from one of our professors for students. We're going to be offering presentations. So that will be a good opportunity just to see more about what Brock has to offer. So I'll definitely share those details with you once confirmed. We're looking at the end of November for that. So it's all virtual. So stay tuned.
I also have a question.
Sure.
I was going to ask a question about the law program. Is there
Sure.
a law program in Brock University?
So if you're looking at law, I'd recommend looking at political science at the undergrad level. You could also look at business. There's no particular program you have to complete in undergrad. The main thing is that if you're looking to go to law school, you will want to make sure that you are taking a program that you'll be able to do well in and succeed in, because your grades will be important. We do have the Law Plus, though, that's offered as a portfolio that you can apply for as well. So if you wanted to study, let's say, political science, you can do your major in that, and then you can apply for the Law Plus. That program's offered during your undergrad to get you industry experience. So it's in addition to your program, it's a portfolio development program we have.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
嗯 Thank you.
嗯。 Thank you.
Thank you.
嗯。
Chantal, is there architecture at Brock?
No architecture.
No architecture, okay.
Good question.
And I'm not sure if may have missed it, if you've already answered
sure.
this, but English requirements.
Yes.
IELTS. So students who have been in an international student for more than 3 years,
that's right.
They can actually apply for an exemption. Is that right?
You got it. Yep. So what they'll do is they can fill out an exemption form. It gets reviewed by the admissions team, and then they'll determine if they're eligible. So typically we look for 3 years for that.
Perfect.
Yep.
Okay.
One more question.
Sure.
About the scholarship, like you give scholarships even for the first year, like is the first year part of the scholarship program?
The first year, sorry, can you repeat that? First year scholarships?
Yeah, the first year, like the year you're going to work, like even if it's undergrad.
Yep.
Is it a part of like the scholarship program?
Yeah, as a first year student, yes. So the scholarships I mentioned are the entrance awards. So that's for students applying from high school going into first year at Brock. So the Brock Scholars, the Emerging Market, those ones are automatic. You don't have to apply for. So if you get a letter of admission to Brock, it'll actually outline those scholarships that are offered for you. And then if you're going into like your upper years at Brock, like second year, third year, fourth year, the Brock Scholars will continue to be offered. And then you can also apply for additional scholarships through the One app. So the One app is something available for you throughout your 4 years at Brock to be considered for different scholarships. It could be a leadership scholarship. It could be a financial need-based scholarship. So you'll want to make sure you do submit that as well.
I have another question.
Sure.
What are the employment rates of Brock University?
Yep, so we do see, as I mentioned, 96% of our students do find work after receiving their degree. What I would recommend for students for getting industry experience, consider a co-op stream for sure if you can, if your program is offered with it, because of the fact that you're going to get the industry experience and you'll get paid for the work. But other than that, we do have employers that come to our campus very often. We do networking events. So there's ways for you to find a job, whether it's a summer job, full-time job upon graduation.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And if you want, I think I mentioned it briefly, but if you are looking to do like a part-time job on campus, you can definitely do so. So we do have a lot of part-time jobs through athletics, through residence. So students do have the opportunity to work while they study, which is nice.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
One more question.
Sure.
For the residents, for like the dorms and is there any like, is this scholarship program part of the dorm experience, or is there a different scholarship program for the dorms?
So usually students will use the scholarships towards tuition fees, but it's up to the preference of the student. So the scholarships will be available like in your financial history, and in your financial history is where everything gets posted. So including fees for residents, tuition. So it is up to the preference of the student, I guess, how they go about making those payments and putting the scholarships towards those fees. But yeah, the residents, as I mentioned, it is something that I would encourage students to look to apply for their first year. It's going to be a little bit more expensive than off campus, but if you can, I would recommend living in residence.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
One last question.
Sure. Oh, I think it might have gotten cut out there. Do you mind asking your question again?
Yeah. What is the acceptance rate for the university, like this university, Brook?
I don't know if we have that out right now, the acceptance rates, but as long as you meet our minimum requirements coming out of high school, you should be fine. So for Ontario universities, generally speaking, it is around that 70%, 75% range. So if you are in that range of a 70%, you shouldn't have any issues getting into Brock, as well as other universities within Ontario.
Oh, okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And there's no limit in terms of like how many international students get accepted. Sometimes students ask that. So apply to your first choice of course, and just keep in mind some of the prerequisite courses that you're taking out of high school.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, I have a question.
Sure.
So there will be a entrance exam for university, or it's just our grade in high school?
Good question. Just your grades in high school. So no examinations, no supplementary. The only programs that had like some form of a supplementary were the arts programs. So we're strictly looking at your grades coming out of grade 12 for admission into Brock.
Okay, and the university does include the dorm, or we have to buy a house for ourselves?
So you will be able to apply for residence. So during your first year, most students will live in residence coming out of high school. So just make sure you submit it prior to June 1st. And then usually in the upper years is when students will look at off-campus housing. So if you wanted to get a house or an apartment with friends, you can easily do so.
Okay, and how much the university will cost?
Yeah, so our tuition fee is around $29,000 for international students. And then overall, looking at like the big picture with accommodation, books, everything, it's about $42,000 for the year, Canadian.
49?
About 42 minimum, yeah.
Okay. This 42 will include the dorm or no?
Yes, that's right. Yep, that would include the dorm.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Guys, if I can just add, you will be applying to all Canadian universities starting October 15th. The applications close January 15th, and you will have a meeting with me to talk about your choices. It's us who will be sending out your grades, and it's your best six grade 12 or not best six, your 6th grade 12 courses that you're taking. That they will be considering in terms of admissions. So the courses that you're taking, such as the math or the science track courses or the HSB for you, all those courses, you need to keep up your grades, okay? And English is the most important.
Thanks, Doa. Yeah, that's right. So, so it's good to know your counselor will be able to do everything for you when it comes to those documents. And yeah, make sure you begin working, I guess, on that OUAC application and getting everything in.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I'm sorry, one more question.
Sure.
You mentioned that if the school we're in we learned 3 years in English, that we wouldn't really need to have extra lessons, right? Does Keystone apply to that same rule?
Yeah, so because you guys have been in an English curriculum with Keystone, so what you'll do is if it's been 3 years that you've been enrolled full time, that's great. You'll fill out the waiver form, and then from there, the admissions team will review it. So that waiver form will get submitted after you apply to Brock. So it comes after your OUAC application has been submitted.
And Manara, if you haven't been at Keystone for 3 years, I'm not sure now. It's not extra lessons, it's an IELTS test that they require. Yes. So there's no extra lessons. As long as you pass that 6.5 or get a 6.5 in your IELTS, then you don't need to take any extra English lessons.
Yes, that's right. Yes, thanks for clarifying that. Yep, so as long as you are able to submit that test score, you'll be fine. You'll be able to get a direct entry into Brock. And
if you've been at Keystone for 3 years, you will be applying for the exemption, and we will do all that together.
Perfect.
Or the SATs, is it a requirement to give an SAT, or is it like optional? Or do you guys don't?
No, yeah, it's not required. So it's not something the admissions team will need to see. They'll be strictly looking at your grade 12 grades.
Okay.
No SATs are required in Canada. That's for the US.
That's right. Yeah. But if you are applying to US schools, you'll want to make sure you have those.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Good question. Okay. Any more questions, guys? It's 11.